Division 2's Title Update 9 is a disaster. Title Update 9 or Update 1.22 hit Division 2 this week, and while exotic reconfiguration is working for most players, there have been a ton of changes that have resulted in a disaster of nerfs, problems, and changes to your beloved builds. There was also some news revealed this week, including a raid update and a free-to-play version of Division 2 released. This update is a 9.8 gigabyte download, and it's filled with problems, nerfs, and just yikes. Here are all the updates you need to know, and oh my god, there's a lot. By far, the biggest change was to the M1A. They didn't include the M1A Nerf on accident in the patch notes. The M1A Nerf was supposed to be an internal test as a first step towards fixing what they consider the overpowered rifle that ended up going live based on the latest state of the game. That's what they said.
A designer on the team made an adjustment that was meant to be a first step to test and then validate. Unfortunately, that never happened.
The M1A and Bakers are actually going to be reverted back to their previous damage numbers.
We are going to revert the nerf of the M1A and the Bakers dozen.
For now. PvP will still get a 20% nerf, and they do say that they're well aware of how the M1A is a problem in PvP. Longer term, they are going to adjust the M1A. So I don't really agree that this needed to be nerfed that much. It was absolutely insane how far they nerfed it into the ground. I hope they continue looking at this. All right, number 2 big update. So you like your skill build? Well, it's probably going to be much less viable. The send-off perk is gone, perfectly rooted, no longer works. Skill builds, yes, much less viable right now. They have new gear on the way that should address the issue. And my reaction to that is, you're having this many problems with a rifle and a few pieces of armor, so you're going to introduce more gear into the sandbox? That is not going to solve the problem. We're going to have even more problems after Title Update 9. That's actually more concerning than I expected. So in addition to your skill builds not working, Firefly isn't working properly. It won't launch, or it won't get a target. And turrets are going on cooldown and not placing properly, which means my turret seeker build is basically destroyed. That's not super inspiring. At least they didn't touch True Patriot. Am I right? Oh, wait. True Patriot heal was overtuned, so they nerfed that, and it's not going to heal you as much. They were saying it's more effective than even a dedicated healing build would be. It was never the intention for it to be that good, for it to be good, apparently. It's meant to make the enemy worse and you a little bit better. It wasn't meant to be the tankiest and most survivable. It works now as intended. So check out your True Patriot builds. I didn't have a build like that. A lot of my teammates did, though. So I guess good luck on Legendary, everybody. If you like doing the manhunts, there's also an issue there. There's a bounty issue with the current manhunt, so it actually can't be completed as Coney Island has progression blockers that need to be fixed. I'm a little bit behind on my manhunt progress, so at least I can work on the control points that I need to clear, which, by the way, keep getting overrun by like 5 other scenarios all at the same time, and I've been playing solo, so they're just more difficult than they need to be. I'll just say that. Those were the biggest things. Yeah, just all your favorite things have been nerfed into the ground. There were other notes, though. Massive does say things didn't go as intended with this update. You think? Kenley College Tech Lab is blocked. Coney Island, like I said, has progression blockers. Now you still can't start or finish the Angel of Mercy contaminated area, which was a problem they said they were going to address last week. There's more. There is more that they didn't mention. As an example, shield skills and assault rifles are not working together properly. So great, another thing that doesn't work. Okay, there was also some new raid info. I had this notification pop up in my game that said new raid available. There is a new raid available. Go check it out in the raids tab in the social menu. When you hop into your social menu, it does tease the new raid coming soon. Here's what it said. When I landed a gig at United Ironworks, I thought I was set. Medical, dental, the works. 4 days later, green poison killed my insurance, then my parents. Some of the new crew set up a camp in the foundry, and we decided to keep the lights on and reconfigure the machines to make emergency survival stuff. Try to help people, you know? I guess the True Sons didn't like that. They killed most of us before I even knew what was happening. Apparently, they don't think I'm much of a threat, but I've been keeping my eyes and ears open, and I swear to God, I'm going to find a way to make them pay. Z. So that's all about the Foundry Raid. Here's some info that we already know about the Foundry Raid. According to Division Academy, fire and burn are going to be a key element. There's going to be puzzle rooms that will also be a key feature. New gear sets, Foundry Bulwark, and Future Initiative will be there. Nikki Nupin's confirmed that the Ravenous Rifle and Regulus Pistol are from this raid. We don't know where it's going to take place, but yes, we know it's spring 2020, likely June. Okay, so why do I say June? So during the state of the game, they said there is going to be a new difficulty and balance pass in June. That is their target date to launch that specific piece of content. So this leads me to believe they're going to do that because they feel like the raid needs to be in the best place possible before they launch it. They even specifically called out the raid several times during this state of the game. Usually when a developer calls out a balance pass like that, that means something big is coming, and I'm just kind of reading between the lines. That's my take on when the Foundry Raid will hit. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Finally, there is a new Division 2 trial. The trial is going to allow players to play Division 2 for free up to level 8 and for a maximum duration of 8 hours. That means you can hop in and make your own decision about what you think about Division 2. Regardless, this might get more players in the player base, meaning I can matchmake more often, so that's a good thing, especially with Title Update 9, am I right? If you do purchase the full game, you will be able to continue your progression after that. So the trial version will become the free version, and you just keep playing. So in addition to all that, let's go through the patch notes. So like I said, they're about 10 gigabytes. They do feature exotic reconfiguration. The way exotic reconfiguration works is you have to go buy the blueprint from Anaya. Once you get that blueprint, you have to have the weapon on you, and then you can re-roll it. I did it with my holster, got a pretty good roll, so that one does seem to be working positively. And I did it with my Bullet King, got a much more evened out roll. Very, very happy with that. You can do that as many times as you like, and you should get some sort of upgrade. Now, there were also a bunch of exotics balanced out. Sawyer's knee pads were reworked. You can now not be staggered by explosions. Increases total weapon damage by 3% each second you are not moving. It stacks up to 10 times, and stacks are lost when not moving. The exotic only provides defensive attributes and no brain bonus, so now has potential for high damage and makes it appealing to both red and blue builds. The developers left a comment on this one. The old version didn't provide enough engaging gameplay. This change should help with that. Imperial Dynasty also got a buff. That's why I was so excited to get it before this update. The cooldown was reduced to 35 seconds. That's down from 40 seconds. And the developer said this buff is to better compensate for lack of brand bonuses. Dodge City Gunslinger had a reduced charge-up time to 30 seconds. That's down from 50 seconds. And the buff is to better compensate for the lack of brand bonus. Seems like that whole brand bonus thing is kind of a problem, seeing you can make more powerful builds with high-end gear versus a set right now. And with the nerf of True Patriot, that certainly doesn't help the situation. Diamondback was also reworked. It now grants all shots guaranteed crits for 5 seconds after hitting a mark. The Diamondback is underperforming, and this change should make the bonus a bit more exciting. Merciless / Ruthless got a buff. Explosion damage increased to 1,200%, up from 900. I really want to get that weapon now. Explosion damage doesn't scale with crit stats, so boosted to compensate. That was a developer note. Lady Death no longer enhances turret skills. Turret skills also no longer work properly, so maybe worry about the turret skills first. Bullet King base damage is now the same as the non-exotic LMG version. Great. Here's a good one, though. Exotic attribute roll quality. All exotics will now roll at the highest possible minimum roll, regardless of the difficulty they are obtained in. Exotic items can still roll higher than the minimum, but minimum rolls are now higher. Good news. I've gone over these in the past, but let's go through them again. Talents, tag team, reworked. The last enemy you have damaged with a skill is marked. Dealing weapon damage to that enemy consumes the mark to reduce active cooldown by 6 seconds. Cooldown is 4 seconds. does not consume mark if no skill is on cooldown. Reassigned, got a buff. Killing an enemy adds 1 round of a random special ammo into your sidearm. Reduced cooldown to 15 seconds, down from 20 seconds. Tamper-proof, reworked. Enemies that walk within 3 meters of your hive, turret, or remote pulse are shocked. Arm time is 2 seconds, and that's an increased cooldown per skill to 10 seconds. That is up from 5 seconds. Empathic Resolve got a buff. Repairing an ally increases their total weapon and skill damage by 3 to 15% for 20 seconds, up from 10 seconds, 1 to 7% if to yourself. Here's what the developer says about this. Currently, it is difficult to keep a high uptime in 4-man content as non-tank players try to be as safe as possible and NPCs have higher lethality, so chip damage is less frequent. Creeping Death. When you apply a status effect, it is also applied to all enemies within 8 meters, that's way up from 5 meters, of your target. The cooldown is reduced to 15 seconds, that's down from 20 seconds. Overcharge talents now properly state they don't work in PvP. Okay, so here's our favorite named items and how they're being affected. Contractor's Gloves, damage to armor lowered to 8%. Firm Handshake, status effect increased to 15%. Ammo Dump now correctly rolls 2 additional attributes. Claws Out now correctly has a skill tier attribute roll. Now correctly rolls an attribute addition to pistol damage and melee damage. Melee damage increased to 400%. Fox's Prayer, damage to out of cover lowered to 8%. Hollow Man, damage to health lowered to 10%. Punch Drunk, headshot damage increased to 20%. Send Off, removed perfectly rooted talent. That's why your skill builds are a mess right now. All right, lots of patch notes. I know we are now on weapons. Assault rifles increased the maximum roll of damage to health to 21%. Players on Stadia will not see this displayed correctly and instead see an increase to damage to health on other weapon types. This is a UI issue only and will be fixed in the next client update. Classic M1A and Baker's Dozen reduced damage by approximately 40%. This one was addressed earlier in my video. This change was intentional, and we apologize. It was not in the original patch notes due to a lapse in communication. It didn't make it into the list. According to the state of the game, that is being reverted. We'll see. So on the gear sets, True Patriot, white buff armor repaired lowered to 2% or 3% once every second. Okay, main missions. Pentagon and DARPA Research Lab, lowered difficulty to be more on par with other missions. Liberty Island, lowered difficulty to be more on par with other missions. Wall Street, reduced health and damage of the APC. Thank you. If you're going to farm for that lower damage Bullet King, that was the mission that I was doing it on. Have fun. Stranded Tanker, NPC composition has been adjusted. I don't know what that means, but maybe I won't be burned to death every time I run that mission. AI and NPCs, signature weapons against named NPCs. Slightly increased damage signature weapons deal to named enemies. Thank you. Elite NPCs damage against player skills. Reduced damage elite NPCs deal to player skills, so my Seeker Mines can actually make it to those targets. Tank sprint speed, reduced sprint speed of tank archetype from all hostile factions. Thank you. NPC shotguns, reduced damage of all NPC shotguns, adjusted range of some NPC shotguns, including shotguns used by Black Tusk Rusher. I can't get mapped anymore. Status effects, reduced duration of poison and cleaners, napalm, and snare when applied to players. Special ammo signaling. Any NPC with special ammo has the same UI indication as from the special ammo directive. Examples of who this affects: outcasts who pick up special ammo from boxes deployed by their support archetype, bounties who spawn with special ammo. Rogue agents, this is a big one, significantly reduce the armor of dynamically spawning rogue agents. To prevent this from being too large of a nerf in 3 to 4 player co-op, a rogue agent can spawn with an armor kit, which can repair their armor up to 70%. An armor kit. One. Right, Massive? Slightly reduce the damage output of dynamically spawning rogue agents. That one was just out of whack. Basically, if I got rogue agents, I didn't even bother trying to kill them half the time. If one of my teammates go down, I'm like, just wipe so we can just get this encounter over with, especially when you're farming for exotics. Hopefully this fix makes it where you'll actually engage in those encounters and make it worth your time. NPC buff abilities changed. Previously, certain bosses and bounties would magically overheal themselves and their fire team. This buff ally's ability lacked clear messaging, so it has been replaced with a leader overheal ability. This is the same ability that the Riker's leader archetype has. Once the boss leader is killed, all their friendlies lose their overheal. The UI indicator of pulsing circles inward/outward in their nameplate signals when this ability is active. On loot and rewards, we already know that exotics are going to drop at the highest tier possible. So they added gear from the raid, including the chest and backpack, into the general loot pool, making them available outside of the raid. They've lowered the number of exotic components rewarded for exotic deconstruction to match the cost of exotic reconfiguration. They lowered conflict XP amount from PvP weekly projects to match the required XP for one conflict level. Blueprints combined all skill mod blueprints of different qualities into a single blueprint per skill, scaling quality with that of the crafting bench. Added skill mod blueprints for the skills introduced in Warlords of New York. Added blueprints from the general blueprints pool to the first time weekly completion rewards of invaded missions. Added blueprints from the general blueprints pool to the rewards of daily projects. All right, skills. This one's going to get touchy. The sharpshooter tactician skill base radius has been increased to 50 meters. Hell yes. Scoping is now enabled when using a shield skill, except it does break the AR combo. Achievements did change. There was an achievement for Dark Zone Safe House. You just need to go to any safe house in the DZ to unlock that now. There were a ton of gear and skill fixes, gameplay fixes, UI fixes, just general stuff. I'll go through and see if there's anything of significant note. Fixed an issue causing deployable skills to not refresh their duration when receiving the Artificer Hive buff. They fixed an issue causing the glass cannon gear talent to amplify all healing received. Fixed the text of the Akasa's Go Bag talent 1 in hand to correctly state that the buff triggers when the grenade is thrown. That is a very powerful backpack. You want it. Fixed an issue causing cards to not correctly flip when having the Poker Face backpack talent of Aces and Eights gear set equipped. Fixed an issue causing the Nemesis exotic to not trigger the Focus Gear talent when scoped. Fixed an issue causing the Demolisher Firefly to sometimes target and destroy friendly decoys. Fixed an issue causing the Sniper Turret to have odd behavior when shooting at enemy NPCs with shields. Fixed several issues causing attachments being misplaced on the Carnage and Iwi Negev weapons. Yeah, I call it Iwi. Fixed the text for the Booster Hive to now correctly state that it delivers a stimulant to nearby allies that increase their weapon damage and handling. Fixed an issue causing the Plague of the Outcast debuff of the Pestilence to transfer to lower amounts of stacks under certain circumstances. Fixed an issue that allowed wildlife to count towards the Tactician and Flamethrower special field research. Be nice to animals, everybody. Fixed an issue causing the Outcast support NPC to remain stuck in the spawn area in the Federal Emergency Bunker main mission on challenging difficulty. Fixed an issue causing too many cleaner tanks to spawn at the same time during the Stranded Tanker main mission. Fixed an issue causing too few rogue agents to be spawned for 4-player groups in the Stranded Tanker main mission. Operation Dark Hours raid fixes. Fixed an issue causing Razorback to not drop any subsequent keys after defeating it once. Fixed several performance issues during the Operation Dark Hours raid. Open world. Fixed an issue causing players to become stuck in a container after freeing a hostage. Fixed an issue causing Black Tusk to take over too many activities in New York. They also need some time to relax. Fixed an issue causing NPCs to spawn from a manhole and then become stuck in a wall. Dark Zone and PvP. Fixed an issue causing agent nameplates to be visible at incorrect distances. Shade agent nameplates are now visible at 15 meters. Rogue agent nameplates are now visible at 30 meters. Manhunt nameplates are now visible at 50 meters. These values can change depending on Dark Zone perks. Fixed several props. Fixed a prop that could cause players to become stuck and immune when dropping from a certain location. And performance, they fixed several issues causing low FPS in various side missions. They also added a reset control points button in the global difficulty menu. Changing global difficulty will now reset all checkpoints on your current map. Reset control points button will now reset all checkpoints on your current map. And reset manhunt campaign will reset all checkpoints connected to the manhunt. So there were a ton of UI fixes. One that I found interesting was that they fixed missing VFX for completing a rogue agent encounter. So that'll be a little bit more celebratory if you actually go through with it. Here's what they said about gameplay. Fixed an issue causing players to be unable to progress to a higher world tier when completing any required stronghold in another player's session and leaving that session. Fixed an issue causing players to be unable to reach the Angel of Mercy contaminated area. That is not fixed. That is in the patch notes. That is not fixed. They confirm that. Fixed an issue causing global event NPC challenges to only count for the player landing the killing blow. Fixed an issue causing players to be unable to gain the Armor Breaker distinction commendation under certain circumstances. So that's everything from the state of the game, the raid info on Twitter, and the patch notes. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. I was left feeling pretty let down that Title Update 9 was such a mess. I really, really hope they get the game back to a really, really solid place where we can start building out all the different kinds of builds that we want to. That's it for this one. Also, let me know about this new format. What did you think? All right, until next time, I'm Destin, signing off.